Okay, I made $482 today on the XFA. Pretty happy about that. I'm going to do the full breakdown of everything I saw, thought process, all of the trades. So, I'm vlogging right now, you're going to see a lot of it as well. I'm going to get rid of the macros and just show you purely the boxes. When the boxes has a wedge pattern like this, we're running at both highs and lows, and it isn't clear power of 3, I want to be more on side of price is going to run up both directions and have poor delivery. So this is seek and destroy. With that in mind, we have going into 9:30 actually. I'm going to show you the 9:50 macro and break down the macros because I was mainly on the 1 minute today. We have the 931st Rosenna gap. We open the macro and we have immense manipulation lower. With this manipulation lower, we actually form SMT at the lows with ES, and the rest of the pairs actually run it out. So I'll show you that real quick. We have SMT at the lows right here, as you can see. So with this in mind, the first entry I was looking for was this BPR. I was looking for these two, this BPR and this BPR for an entry. Something I didn't realize though, we formed a high probability BISI. So with a BPR down here, we're anticipating this to be held as a protected low. BPR and SMT low makes me believe that this low is going to be protected. Now with that in mind, these two BISIs stacking on top of each other, I consider this to be the high probability BISI because this protected low is going to remain, and this entire BISI is above the BPR, above the breakaway gap, so I want to see this keep us on side of being bullish. So the only other draw on liquidity I had going into the day was opening range high, which opening range high is the time between 9:30 and 10. So in between this time, we want to mark out the highs and lows. Opening range low has already been ran out, but opening range high right here is still intact. Now that I missed my initial long entry down here of the BPR, that was going to hold all the way through, I started to look for a second entry during the 1050 macro, and I actually ended up almost getting bottom tick for this one, so I'm very happy about this one. And if you guys actually watched my recaps going over yesterday, I explained the exact setup that gave me longs here in the recap from yesterday. During the 850 macro, which I'm going to go over this one more time, we opened up and we had SMT at the lows. So this is 850, this is the exact setup. Right as the macro opens, we have manipulation lower, but SMT with YM. First thing I want to look for is just BISI, high probability IFG, BPR entry, and then we're long. This is a high probability long. So going over the same logic that we had today, the macro opened, we immediately formed SMT at the low. This SIBI here was my entry. So the second we closed above this inversion, especially because we're already inside of discount the range, we are coming off of and rejecting off of a high probability BISI right here. I want to see price, the SMT hold for us not to take out the SMT low, so my stop could be at the SMT low, and for us to inverse and continue running up higher off the discount of this range, because we already did damage inside of discount. I want to see us run into premium. Dang. See. So with that in mind, this opening range high, this is what I was targeting. Another good target for this, let me figure this out real quick. Oh, thank you. Okay, another good target for that would have been, opening range high, as you said. 931st percent gap was also a good target. I personally would have wanted to be targeting the open of this macro. Would have been the absolute best take profit we would have had, looking back on it. And I decided not to take profit because I want to look for opening range high. And this is something that I did. That's something I would need to work on. On a seek and destroy day, we usually don't have full delivery to our targets. We have lackluster, poor delivery, which I actually realized that, and I took a trade based off of that here. So with this in mind, it's like we're trying to shoot for a target, the low-hanging fruit. We know it's going to go somewhere. We know it's going to go in our direction. We don't exactly know where it's going to land. We fell short of opening range high because of the seek and destroy. We are just going to accumulate, have really rough conditions to deal with. So with that in mind, I decided I was just going to put my stop to I was going to drill my stop in profit, something I almost never do because I'm very confident in the delivery. And I did, and I got stopped out right about here. Instead of this BISI, I got stopped out. And this wasn't really a big deal to me. It could have ran up higher. I could have closed with like $540. It didn't really matter to me at the time, though. I only really care about strictly applying my edge, trading my model, etc. You guys know the drill. That's all I care about. I don't care if I'm in drawdown. I'm up $200. So when we went into the 1150 macro, this is the main trade that I hit off in voice chat. I tried to break it down with one of my students, just one by one, what we're looking for. So the way I'm going to try imitating what I gave him. When we opened up the macro, we ran up high, we formed this BISI, and we start working it. We start running inside of it. Also, using the SIBI, I also want to mention one more thing. We're inside of premium of the range. Underlyingly, we're inside of premium of the range. And with us being in premium, we form a BISI, we come up higher, we have the SIBI right here that the bodies are respecting, we're failing to close above. Now, with the 931st percent gap we have here, we are failing to get into the upper quadrant of it. So after closing above, closing back down below it, we want to see us fail to close above it. We want to see strength off of this. So we are obviously rejecting off the midpoint. The bodies aren't even closing past the, what was it called, 25th quadrant, I'm pretty sure, of this gap. So we are obviously respecting this with SMT at the highs with YM. So once we have the SMT at the highs, we're instead of a higher time frame SIBI, we have 9/31st gap showing that we're bearish. I'm obviously looking for shorts off this high probability inversion instead of the macro. So with all this in mind, we start closing. The final thing that was like the cherry on top for me, when we closed short of closure below on this high probability inversion, we formed a SIBI here. Coming up inside of this SIBI showed that we were bearish. This gave me confirmation that the ICT PD arrays, they're being respected. A bearish PD array, we're still respecting. They're showing me that order flow is bearish. I'm anticipating delivery lower off of this PD array, and PD arrays are still being respected cleanly. Because if it was ugly, if price wasn't good, this isn't really being respected well, right? This BISC isn't being respected well. We can obviously see that this is ugly. This is very clean retrace into the SIBI and pushing lower. Another thing that we can use is knowing that we want to see up close candles support price to go lower when we're bearish. So look at this. Up close candle, we're supporting price to go bearish. Up close candle, bearish. Boom, up close bearish. And until we get to this point where we stop respecting it as cleanly, that's where I want to start looking for my exit. But yeah, we can obviously see price is starting to clean up. It's inside macro. Everything fits. So I took shorts. And I recorded all my executions. You guys will see in the vlog when this is all streamlined. It'll be very easy to see my thought process. But I took the shorts here, and I was holding down to equilibrium of the range. I want to always be targeting, since we're not going to have full delivery to our targets, I only want to be looking for delivery to equilibrium of the range, or our low-hanging fruit. This is where I went break even, and this is where I took off my position, which I didn't take it off here. I waited a bit when we had closure below EQ. I trailed my stop loss, so pretend this is my stop. I had my stop break even. I moved it all the way down here, and then it failed to take out this low, and then it came up higher and stopped me out. And that's really all that happened. And that's all I was anticipating for the day. And it worked out pretty well. Gave me a pretty good end to the week. My first week on the XFA. It looks like we're slightly up after 2 kind of bad days, which isn't bad. I finished my objective before Wednesday, which is our goal. So currently, before I get into what I'm looking for tomorrow and giving some advice for people that want to be trading the rest of the week, do we have any questions right now? Oh yeah, this is recorded, by the way. I got to tell them. Hello, police. Oh yeah, engineer liquidity. Engineer liquidity, the way I use it for here, the engineer liquidity was just when we were forming and inducing these highs. No sequential SMT. I completely forgot about it again. No, I didn't use any QT stuff. I literally just used 2024 mentorship ICT, my model. That's literally it. Engineered liquidity, as I mentioned earlier, it's just when we're forming these highs just to run them out quickly. When we are forming these individual highs and we run them out. You can see engineered liquidity everywhere. I just like to see it if we're not manipulating. Because, for example, if we just form engineered liquidity and we don't really run it out, I get really, not really scared. I just want to start avoiding price in that area. So after we see the highs getting ran out, I'm assuming that we're just forming buy stops, running it out, forming buy stops, running it out. Just no damage lower, no, what was it called? No engineered liquidity till the lows get taken out, but we have engineered liquidity at the highs being taken out, higher time from PD array. Everything here just tells you bearish, especially premium of the range. Failure to run out the opening range high, just a lot of things basically. But yeah, I think that's really it. If we have no other questions, I'm going to get onto what I need to speak about. So, since it is NFP week, we usually want to be done by Wednesday. We don't want to be trading past Wednesday. We want to finish all of our trading by Wednesday. So I'm going to be following that because conditions get really difficult to navigate. We can see since we got like really close to the edge of the limit, price wasn't really cleanly delivering. I was really shocked when I saw we weren't going to run an opening range high, and I used that for this short. So I know price isn't going to be clean. It's not going to deliver properly the way I wanted to, and we're getting really close to running out this external high, which we didn't today. So today mainly just accumulated. I don't like doing that. So with this in mind, trying to form a bias real quick on the spot. I mean, we are now closing above of this SIBI, which I want to see this kind of act as an inversion in a sense. Now that we've actually came back down lower, we didn't really run into this BISC. This is acting as a breakaway gap. I do want to see higher prices. Overall market sentiment is bullish too. I always use this chart to understand, get a clear grasp on my bias, but I'm really going to be cautious going into the rest of the week. I highly recommend not trading, going over just short-term market structure from what I can see. I mean, you guys can obviously see that this is really ugly. Only thing we can really have is for the rest of the day, opening range high, going into tomorrow, the external draw on liquidity we have, which is this high. And with that in mind, we have to somehow find a way to trade in between that, which that's not utterly optimal. If you really want to be a professional at this, if you really want to be the thing that separates you from being a profitable or unprofitable trader, you just gotta avoid trading when you know conditions are going to be bad. Don't try justifying it no matter what you see, because we're not going to deliver properly. So it's much better to sit still, protect yourself, your confidence, your psychology, and put yourselves in the best probable position to win. Just like how we trade, we want the highest probability setups to win. And that's really all I have. If we have no other questions, I'm going to be done for the day. Probably done for the week, honestly. So if there's no other questions, I'm just going to upload this.